ready. Let's get in the fourth part of fourth day. So that's it. We have already talked on a lot of vocabulary, new vocabulary. So we were talking on it. So that doesn't matter. So what's matter in life? That's even your journey is really how execution or anything like that. We don't have to think and recognize that things like that. Even everyone's starting point is really starts from an execution point. So we have to appreciate, and that's point will be the turning point of a person that he's actually starts working on his career or anything like that. So that's why he's actually working over it. So he has to make this that things on his journey, like how candle steam or anything like that. So if he could to make like he has to get engaged that kind of struggling life. Even he has a lot of problem over his mentality or over his mind, but he's still working. In that case, we have to be really how really stunning and dazzling because we are working over our career, and that's matters that we don't need to care about other people that whatever they are, even they are obsecrating over you, we will let them obsecrate. If they are getting the happiness or joy or anything like that by obsecrating that kind of and engaging in that kind of things or activities, in that case we will let them. We are not gonna complain over it. So people will come to in this generation, people are what defecating their investment into negativity or something like that. So it is always better to have awareness about what's gonna happen in the future. So it is, if we have this kinds of awareness, in that case we will aware, and we are aware over here, not to ever get engaged in negative activities or anything like that. So sometimes people will come to discombobulate what discombobulate your journey and yourself, and you too, man. But you don't have to get engaged in anything like that kind of activities or that kind of illusions, because you are not over here to stalk somewhere. Somehow you have to go and you have to move ahead. So if you can, in that case, that will be the we're not gonna say always that the turning point, that will be your turning point or anything like that can be really monotonous or anything like that. So it is always better not to repeat even a little bit word ahead, so that can be so impressive. So we are not over here to make our whatever we are sharing over here as your not, we're not sharing it as compensation, but we are actually sharing all these things over here to make our fluency better day by day. So we think we are actually summarizing, memorizing, we are even capsulating all this over here, and that is combined within this video, even with others that can be connected, and also it is really relevant, and it has to be. So what kind of person do you are? Can you withdraw other people? So if you can, in that case, it's we come to assume and consider, recognize, and what acknowledge you that you are also a really flattering person, and you have that is also a skill, man. We don't need to think that is awful or really terrible, of that kind of habits you don't have anymore. It only shows that what that is if you can beat up any kind of things in life, in that case, that's enough, man. You have to think in this way. So you always have to think that if you come to camera ahead of other people, in that case people just make you the person like who deserves just insults and offense. Even who deserves, even people who like to offense him, he don't care about. So in that case you mustn't have to account for other people. So in that case, what do you have to do in that case? You have to dissemble each and everything. So you don't need to emasculate your power, authority, if whatever you have. So if you come to what uh, emasculate your journey, your power, or your proper side is a vision, in that case you will lose, man. So it is always better not to get engaged in any kind of that kind of activities or anything like that. So you don't need to contravene that kind of strategy or anything like that. Even you have convoked with proper people or anything like that, but somehow you are wonder you have you got stuck. So it doesn't matter, you just even you don't need to conjecture other ahead of other people. You just has to be so like how strict, or you have to, your everything must be strict. So in that case, that will be really how really appreciating, and it has to be. So always think about your career, and that's why you won't you can even able to disabuse that kind of things or belief, so that's will be your skills or anything like that, because you are working over it, and you always have to. So that's it. So even something is really symmetrical or anything like that, even in that case, stay calm, positive, or anything. But one thing you have to remember, and we need to recommend you, that don't ever feel like you are not doing anything in your life, and that's why your life is really tedious, or like how really high digits. You don't need to think in that way, even you used to think about it that way, but actually you are working over your career, and that's why you don't need to what decimate your discipline, whatever you are executing over this year. So that's really appreciating it, it has to be. So sometimes you come to debate even your own past positions or other rights over something, but you always have to aware of losing your self control or your respect. Once you come to lose or your character, in that case you can something like that. So it is always better to have positivity over mentality or anything like that. So in that case you can able to get that level of confidence, or that life, you deserve, man. A lot of even AC doesn't deserve, but you deserve because you are looking over hard adversity, you are living everything, even that is really how really high results are really existing, but you actually started, you didn't stop working on your progress or something like that. So that's why uh, your journey is not people come to assume your journey like that was really crossery or anything other, but that was not actually, because you know the real thing, and you are actually working over it. So what that can be stage, it is always kind of sign, even people are assuming it like you had done a lot of thing over here, and then what can we say, we can't say over here, but what we have to know that we need to care about other people's and perspectives. If we come to believe in ourselves, and that's enough. So if so believing in ourselves is always perfect and impeccable. So always think about your what career, your aim, purpose. If a person is purposeless and aimless, nobody will like to become his horse, will like to become his horse, or you know. So that person will seems like valueless. And the people will come normally. Generally, people will come. Casually, people comes to recognize other people in this way. So it is always better to stay mysterious. Even people will come to manifest you in their reality, into their reality. You will be that level of person. Only in that case, people will like to manifest even a little bit for you, but otherwise, nobody will like to get anything from you, because you will always seems like a worthless and how really existing person, and you are gonna show that you prove that you are a mature, and that case who would like to come ahead of you, man? Nobody will like to come. So it is always better to stay calm, positive, and goal oriented, who is actually concerned about his future or passions. He's working on his aim, purpose of life. So that's why, so that is the end of our life. So we firstly I want to say that we have to maintain discipline. If once we can maintain discipline, in that case no one could ever what affect our mentality or anything like that, because we're actually working over it, and that's why we feel like we are actually doing great, and we have to always we keep performing and carry executing all this thing into positivity. In that case, that's everything will be possible. And as I have this experience, and I'm still gaining, but I am not sure, but we'll have the experience that will lead us towards ultimate successful journey. So that's So that's it. Whatever I would like to I would like to say over here, I have said, and that's it.